What's up, guys? It's your boy King David, and I'm back at it with another video. In this video, I'm going to talk about discipline, guys, and I'm also going to talk about the reasons why it's important to stay disciplined and how it integrates with making you more money, guys. So whatever you do in life, you got to be somewhat disciplined if you plan on going far with whatever you're doing, right, guys? No matter what it is, right? Say if you skateboard, right? I skateboard. Kind of want to show you this board that I like a lot. It's a Creature board. I didn't put the duct tape on the front here just so I can see the airplane, but here's the back of the board. It's like a Grim Reaper riding like an atomic bomb and stuff. It's kind of cool. This thing is old, obviously. I've skated it quite a bit, but basically I think I talked about skating in the last video and staying disciplined, becoming a pro skater, whatnot, right? Like, I'm not a pro skater, but with anything in life, guys, it's about consistency in your discipline. So understanding that me trying to achieve the body of 200 pounds, 10% body fat, that's a difficult challenge, right? That's not something a lot of guys are able to achieve. You're basically in, like, let's put it in a percentage, right? If you look at the majority of people, at least in America, right? Like, we're not going to say the whole world. Like, we're not going to try to, like, span it out that far. But let's look at people mostly in America, right? You look at guys around my age in particular. Not like some younger guys, right? Like in their 20s or, you know, in their teens and stuff. You look at guys around my age. Once you're about 200 pounds and your metabolism's a little bit slower, you're not going to be able to get down to those lower body fat percentages without, like, serious diet, working out consistently. Now, you don't have to go to the gym, guys. I think a lot of guys promote going to the gym, and I used to go to the gym quite a bit, but, like, the gym isn't really necessary for you to obtain this physique, right? You can obtain a physique that you desire or that you will, you know, appreciate if you stick to just a legitimate diet, fasting, you know, drinking plenty of water, cutting out the alcohol, cutting out the smoking, right, guys? Like, cutting out anything that's necessarily bad for you is important. And then sticking to the discipline, guys, like discipline in the kitchen, discipline on your workouts, discipline with your sleep schedule. I noticed once I started to, like, go to sleep at around like 8 o'clock, guys, wake up early morning, usually go for a run or a walk. Middle of the day, I'll end up working out. I'll do calisthenics. Is what I normally do. Even if I was, like, paid enough or had enough money to have a gym membership, there's no gym really close by here. So, except for, like, I think California Fitness or something, which is kind of far. It's not too far, but even if I did have a gym membership, it's like to get all the way there. By the time I would get there, I could have already done, like, a workout here, right, guys? So here's the idea. You can get a decent workout and even the physique that you desire with basic exercises. You know, a lot of people want to, like, achieve this, like, grandiose physique if they're really serious about exercising and they're really staying disciplined, guys. But the reality is you don't need to have that crazy physique, guys. Like, you're not trying to look like a bodybuilder for a competition. Like I said before, you're not trying to, like, you're just trying to be lean, right? You're trying to have that lean physique. And it all takes time, guys. I talked about before when I was 245 pounds, I was drinking, you know, eating out at In-N-Out all the time. And I would drive nearly 200 miles a day for my job. Sometimes probably less. I mean, depends on the day, right? Depends on how many people I had to pick up. So I'd be driving quite a bit. When you're driving, obviously you can't work out. When you get out of the car, you can work out a little bit. You could be at the park, and that's what I typically would do, right? I still made time to at least work out in between the times that I would go and pick up clients, right? And I talked about it before in some of my videos. I used to pick up special needs kids and deliver them to their program, or take them back to their houses, or take them back to their homes, right? So what I'm trying to get at here, guys, is staying disciplined with your exercises is important. When you do exercise, it's not about stressing your muscles out too much when you get older. It's not about going in the hardest. Like, it is about going in hard, guys, but it's about setting the right environment and having the right atmosphere for when you work out. So when you work out, are you working out outside? Maybe not in the direct sun, but are you working out in the sun? What is your attire, right? What are you wearing? Is it going to make you sweat more? Right? So like if you're wearing like it does matter what you're wearing, but let's say you're wearing like a wife beater, right? You're wearing a wife beater, you're outside, you're wearing some shorts, you're working out, guys. You have the right attire, but then you're working out with you're working out with socks and shoes, of course, on. Sometimes I like to work out without shoes, so working out in the backyard is more ideal for me, right? You can even work out on the grass and still get a decent workout. I think what limits a lot of people from being really disciplined with their exercises is that they feel like they don't have the time to do it, or they feel as if they can't go the extra mile with what they're doing. You don't have to do too much, guys. Like, this is what I've noticed since I've gotten in way more shape than I used to be. And I already was like in decent shape before. What I noticed is it's about doing the little things. It's about doing the extras, right? But doing the extras on your time, almost, in a way, right? Like, you still do them every day, but you do them kind of like when you can do them, right? So basically, say if you get up in the morning and it's early in the morning, you just decide to like get dressed. Like, you don't have to take a shower. What I usually do is I'll get dressed, guys, and like a workout outfit, and I'll go for a run. I'll come back, I'll take a shower, and then I start my day, right, guys? So like the beginning of your day, you've already implemented cardio, right? You woke up early, you went straight into running. You know what I mean? That's an important part. Now, like later in the day, it might be hotter in the day. Maybe it's colder, depending on the year. Depending on the season of the year, guys. Will depend on what you're capable of doing. Me, I've gotten to the point where I don't even care if it's 99 degrees. I don't care if it's 102, guys. Like, I will still go outside and work out. I know it's hot for sure. As long as you stay hydrated, it's easy. You just stay under a tree sometimes. You know what I mean? You're good. Now, mind you that like nobody's really going to be out there either. That's the great thing about it. If you go to a park or something like that, a lot of times there are like canopies over the park, so you are getting some shade there, and you can still work out at the park, right? Now, you shouldn't be obviously in the direct sunlight for too long, guys, but what I'm trying to say is there's ways around doing what you have to do when it's necessary to do. If you really want a physique, you got to stay disciplined. It doesn't matter how hot it is outside. You better go outside and work out. If it's your day to work out, work out. Don't ever let anybody try to tell you either that it's too much this or too much that. It's like, if you're gonna go do it, then go do it. You know what I mean? You already had that momentum to go do the very thing. So just go ahead and finish what you were gonna do, because that's what you should be doing. If you had the inclination to go do the very thing, it didn't matter about how hot it was or how cold it was. I remember running in the rain, guys. I remember running when it was 30 degrees outside. I remember being in Nevada when it was like 10 degrees outside, right? Still running when it's that cold. You know what I mean? When you break that limitation in your mind, that's when you become who you really want to be. You can never have a limitation in your mind. You can never make excuses. Now, you have to be smart, obviously. You can't just go out there with no water or no, like, protection. You know what I mean? Like, or you can't, yeah, basically, right? You can't go out there just unprepared, guys. Like, the idea is to be aware of the situation. I think as you get a little bit older, you start to think like this, and you understand that, yeah, it might be a dire situation. Now, you'll never be like really in a dire situation, like you're like on Mount Everest or something. And you're breathing through an oxygen mask. It's never going to be that serious, guys, unless you're like that kind of guy. But doing the exercises, what I'm trying to say here, guys, is doing the exercises and staying disciplined is not as hard as we think it is. We just believe that it's hard because we feel that we don't have enough time to do it, or we feel that the conditions aren't perfect. Conditions will never be perfect in life. You just have to get up and do it, right? I feel like that's half of the discipline battle. Now, how does this tie into money? If you're a disciplined person, you're able to work out 3 to 5 times a week, maybe more. Some people work out every day. Like me, I work out pretty much every day, guys. That means you have a routine, right? That means you also have the drive to go do something and be consistent with it, which shows that you're consistent with what you're doing in life, right? Now, you might not have the money, right? But if you can consistently work out every day and stay fit, even when you don't have money, and you can figure ways out to obtain it and to work hard at what you do, which is keeping your body looking right, that shows a lot of work in itself. That shows a lot of discipline and time it takes to do those things. It's not easy, guys. You know what I mean? Like, I won't say it's easy, but doing it, the rewards from doing it are important. It's not just about having the looks from the girls, guys. It's not just about having, it's not just about being able to walk someplace and not really be winded. It's not just about those things, guys. It's about the fact that you stayed consistent with the very thing that you were, like, you set a goal for yourself and you were able to achieve that goal. I remember I had a goal back when I was 155 pounds to be what the weight I am right now. It took me years. I always kept with it. My mom, my brother were like, I remember when I first had that goal, right? I would tell them that. I'd be like, hey, look, I'm going to be 185. I'm about, $150 at the time, right? I'm going to be 185 pounds of muscle, right? That was my goal. I'm going to be 185 pounds of muscle. I'm going to be 185 pounds of muscle, but lean. I kept telling myself that over and over and over, year after year. My brother and my mom, I don't know if they necessarily believe me. Maybe they believe me at some times when I would say that, but at the same time, they didn't see the vision. A lot of times we can't see into what is the future, right? We can't see on what we can accomplish in the moment, because you don't see like past the, like I was talking about the fog, right? You can't see what is ahead of you. You can't see necessarily what is to happen, right? All you can see is what is now. And a lot of people will rather believe that it's going to get worse than better. People would rather think of like, okay, well, yeah, you might, they'll say you might, but they don't really necessarily believe that that is possible for you sometimes, right? Until you achieve it. You know, standing here at 186 pounds now, yeah, I still have work to do. I still have to get the leanness, the full leanness, right? But just being at the body weight in itself shows that I haven't given up on my goal. Even when I was like bigger. Because at times in life, you got to understand, like when you have, basically when you have responsibilities, when you have to, you know, take care of certain jobs or do certain things, and maybe you're not mentally all the way there because you're taking stuff that, like, I'll get into this a little bit here, guys. Like, I was taking medication for things that I didn't even need, right? Because a lot of times we get prescribed things because of an incident that has happened in the past, and then they believe that that's what you are now. They diagnose you with something, because a lot of these like medical corporations, I know this has kind of gotten like so left on the video, but a lot of these medical corporations instantly diagnose you with something because of one mistake, right, guys? So I was taking medication that wasn't really necessary for me. I didn't need the medication, which messed up my whole, like, my life, basically, right, guys? Like, being in a job, being consistent with my job, being there, but then one day I'm just not able to do it because my like brain chemistry is not quite right, right? Being sleepy behind the wheel because of the medication that I'm taking. You know what I mean? Trying to balance it out in your own way, not knowing really like the way to go, guiding the guidance from other people that you believe are guiding you in the right path. They don't even know what they're talking about sometimes. You have to figure it out for yourself a lot of times in life. And guys, like, we'll get back into the money part, but like, if you make it through all that, like what I'm talking about, like I'll get into a deep like backstory about what exactly was going on, because like this is kind of like just surface level talk, right guys? When you make it through all that and you still have the determination to keep going and keep working onto your goals, guys, that's when you know you're going to be destined for greatness. Like everything that you've been able to get past now and keep pushing, it's like little pieces to the puzzle, right? We think that we're going to get everything all in one piece and just given to us all at once. That's not how life works. Sometimes you have to fall and you have to fail, and you have to fall and fail a couple times and go through a couple battles and stuff, guys, before you're able to achieve what you want. Now, how does this tie into money, guys? How does fitness tie into money? Fitness ties into money for a couple of different reasons, guys. One, if you're a fit person, not just like regular looking guys, like a majority of guys in America, right? They're just either skinny or they're fat. You know what I mean? Skinny, fat, maybe a little bit in between. They're not jacked, right? How to be a jacked person, right? Somebody who has, you know, veinage in the arms, big arms, a big chest, you know what I mean? Decent size, decent weight. You're not skinny, you're not fat. You got the abs, you got, you know, a good physique. that people look at you and they go, wow, okay, what have you been doing? How does that tie into making money? A lot of guys aren't going to correlate the two, but it does make a lot of sense. Like if you have a lot of discipline, what does a job take most of the time? Especially if you want to be promoted, or especially if you want to be viewed by other people in your job. It takes a lot of discipline. It takes sometimes even sacrifices. You know, you have to work late nights, maybe. You have to do the extra work that other people are not doing. You know, all this ties into going into overtime, tying into getting the promotion because you're showing up to work on time and you're showing up in a professional manner. You're showing up and you're doing the right steps. Like the majority of the jobs that I've worked at, I've always gotten a promotion or offered a promotion. Now, sometimes I didn't take the promotion because the responsibilities at the time I wasn't able to do both, you know what I mean? And let's be honest, guys, when we're younger, we're not always thinking about the end goal. We're not thinking about, okay, where will this take me? I talk a lot about God, guys, and I talk about how God, he has a plan for you and he knows exactly what's going on and he knows the path that you're going to take. If you're not on the right path to begin with, guys, like if you, like I always talk about retention and I talk about like God on my channel. So, if you're not retaining, guys, if you're not breaking free from your addictions first, that's why I talk about discipline too. If you break free from your addictions, it gives you the space in your mind to be able to be guided by God. And what I mean guided by God is like you don't have all that noise, all those distractions, all those vices in your life that are going to like steer you in the wrong direction. Instead of you getting off work and going to the bar, instead of you getting off work and, you know, going to the strip club or whatever, you know what I mean, guys? Like wherever you end up being, or going to the dispensary and buying some weed, guys, like instead of doing that, all these side quests, it's like really like side quests, guys. Like we get caught into this life of like doing things that we feel are gonna like make things better, and honestly, it slows things down. Most of the times it slows things down. Obviously you have to do them because God, he wants you to, you know, complete your chapter. And sometimes we have to go through a couple chapters of life before we realize, okay, wait a minute, like I can't keep doing this. I got to change my life. I got to get more disciplined. I got to start working on myself in different ways and manners and finding other ways to enjoy myself, right? And being more disciplined with it. Telling myself, no, I can't do this. Because if I keep doing this, this is the life I'm going to live, right, guys? You know, wandering from place to place and doing whatever. No, you need to be more structured, guys. So when you retain, you get that guidance. You get the guidance of where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be, like I was saying again, like you're supposed to be where you're supposed to be. But at the same time, if you break free from all your addictions and you transcend them, you're finally at a new stage. And when you're at that new stage, you're able to see what is going to happen, and then that's when you get the fruits of your labor. That's when you get the car, you get the house, you get the girlfriend or the wife, you get these things eventually, but it took you so long. There were so many pieces to that big puzzle is what I'm trying to say. You finally have landed the job. You finally maybe go back to college and you finish your degree. Like things like that end up happening after you've already broken free from the things that you were stuck to in the past. Some people are able to complete their goals and still do a little bit of it here and there, or some people do it and then they still do it, be able to complete, you know, their degree and stuff, and then they lollygag around a little bit. Like they're functional, but they still drink, right? Is what I'm trying to say, guys. Some people are able to still do that, guys, but if you think about it, not everybody's able to do that. Not everybody is able to have that same kind of self-control. So sometimes you have to literally cut the very thing off before you're able to achieve what you're meant to, you know? So that's what I mean, like having discipline is probably the most important thing, because if you have discipline, that leaves no room for you to be doing stuff that you're not supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? Which makes it easier for you to achieve the very thing that you desire. And you got to stick with it long enough. A lot of people, they give up. A lot of people give up. They go maybe a couple months, or they go maybe a year without it, and that's not enough, guys. Like, it has to be a consistent battle. You have to stay vigilant. Vigilant and discipline and consistency are all the three things. And also having discernment too, like 4 things really in life that are probably the most important in order to achieve what you desire. I think the goal for most guys, and I feel like what my channel really is preaching about, it's not about retention, guys. It's not about fitness or anything like that. It's not about any of that, guys. It's mostly discipline, guys. So if you really think about it, the main goal is to have the physique that most men and women, or most men, will desire. Obviously, these guys are gonna look at you and be like, damn, they'll admire. And it's not desire, they admire, right? They're like, wow, you have a good body, you look jacked, how do you achieve this? They're gonna ask you questions. You're going to get an attraction for the women, you know what I mean? Because you have the body that they're, you know, attracted to. And then on top of that, guys, you want to have the wealth. You want to have the status. You want to have, maybe not fame. You don't really need to have fame, guys. Like, fame is a little bit exaggerated. I mean, that's optional. But at least the status and the wealth is enough. So those 2 things are really the goal. But the first thing you got to get down is you got to get your health right first. Because without your health, you don't have the energy to achieve the money. You know? So that's about it, guys. You know me, I like to ramble. But hopefully you learned something from this. You know, leave a comment below and subscribe if you want. Peace out, guys.